My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home on IC Radio in the town of Geraldine, Alabama. We are your source for news and entertainment. You can also find us on television two different ways, and I haven't told the pastor about this, but you can find us locally, channel 182 on Charter Communications. You can also find us worldwide on Abundant TV. It's called Abundant TV. My friend Rob Patz owned this station. It's out of Cincinnati, but you can find us on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire, and we're now in Australia.
Cool.
And about 1 million more listeners.
Down under. Amen.
And watchers. Yeah, so
Cool.
we got all that stuff going on, and we're really proud. And thank you, Rob, for helping make this happen. We definitely appreciate being part of your team. So it's really, really awesome. You know, Cowboy Church. And so our pastor, Don Hunton, is with me right now. And so it's Lookout Mountain Cowboy Church is where we go. And you can actually, wow, look, it just happens to be showing up there on the ads
there
right
it
there
is.
at the very top.
There it
And
is.
also got a bigger picture for you to see right here. And so that's the logo of the church right there.
It is.
Located, is it Collinsville or is it Fort Payne? It's somewhere
It's in between. It's a Collinsville mailing address, but it's in between Collinsville and Fort Payne. It's up on the mountain, on Lookout Mountain,
Yeah.
on Highway 176.
I love it. Got a new church. And by the way, this dedication, I wanted to show you, look at all those folks.
Yes, ma'am.
This church has grown so much. We've been going there for about a year now, a little bit under a year. And I was amazed to see that many people there when we started.
Yes, ma'am. It was the very first meeting we had. We just got to have a meeting to see if there was enough folks to have an interest for a cowboy church in that part of Cherokee, DeKalb County, up on Lookout Mountain. And there was about 80 folks showed up that first night.
The first night.
The first night. So, and Brother Phillips says, "Well, you're looking for a sign. Here's your sign." So we kind of went from there, and we stayed in that barn for over a year, and then 1 October of this year, we went to the new barn. And, we had a wedding on Saturday, and then had the first service that Sunday morning, 2 October.
No, it's really. I like the friendliness of the church, but what I'm hearing is common thing about Cowboy churches is you're taking the barriers out.
Yes, ma'am.
And I totally agree with it.
And we remove those, and it's not only come as you are dressed, but it's also come as you are, with all your spiritual needs also. We all have issues, and we all have problems, and it's not our job to clean folks up. That's God's job. Our job is to lead them to Christ and show them that there is a God out there, and share His word. And then God takes care of it. He takes care of the rest of it. So no, we don't. It just come as you are with everything that you got.
And it's really helped. So we've had some family issues, and what's been really good about going to the Cowboy Church is it's a teaching, and it's where you just take it to the altar and you just leave it
Amen.
there.
Amen.
That's been a struggle for me because especially when you're an ambitious business owner, you're used to doing things.
That's right.
But I've applied that in all areas of our lives, with the business as well. I just don't worry with it.
No, but it's tough. I was talking to a young lady this morning, and we were talking about that, about leaving it at the altar and leaving it at God's feet. And I told her, I said we're human, and the human in us will pick it back up. I said, well, what's so cool is I said, Jesus is right there. I said, when you get ready to set it down, he's right there. You just set it right back down. And I said, you'll find yourself toting it shorter distances. Eventually that's where it's at. You're going to leave it with God where it needs to be. But, He knows, good Lord knows, we're just human. And it's easy for a pastor to say, just leave it here and don't pick it back up. But that's very easy to say. And it's difficult to do. But what I found is the more often you do that, the less that burden becomes. It's just like, well, how often should you pray? Not just every day, all the time. What do you pray for? Everything. You pray for discernment for whatever decisions that you're faced with in life, no matter how small or how big. And the same thing with when you got something that's on your heart that's really a burden to you. You have to keep praying. You know, you just have to keep praying and leaving it at the altar, and God will take that burden away from you. You know, but it does. It takes time because we're human.
does. And I wanted to say this. Judy taught me a really, really good lesson. And this is during, it wasn't the dedication, it was another, fifth Sunday. Well, then churches, services would be at a particular church.
Yes,
Well, it
ma'am.
just happened to be at our church, at Lookout Mountain Cowboy Church. And so you remember it was cloudy.
Mhm.
I mean, there was rain all around. You
Mhm.
could look at, because this is such a beautiful area. I mean, it's just gorgeous. So you would look out across and you would see rain like
Mhm.
coming down like crazy.
Mhm.
So I asked Judy, I said, well, what are we going to do with all this food and everything? She said, it's not going to rain here.
Mhm.
And I said, well, yeah, it kind of looks like it is to me, to me
Yeah.
because it's all those rain clouds
Yeah.
and everything that's like all
Mhm.
around us. And she said, it's not going to rain.
Mhm.
And she was so confident when
Yes,
she
ma'am.
said that.
Mhm.
And so, sure enough, it didn't.
Didn't,
I mean,
yeah.
it rained all around
Mhm.
us. Nothing happened to the food, nothing.
Yes, ma'am.
Now, when we went back in the church, it started raining.
It did.
But
It
she
did.
had that quiet confidence,
Yeah.
didn't she?
Yeah, she's the eternal optimist. I told the church Sunday night that she's the eternal optimist. She's always like that, and she's such a blessing, not just to me, but to a lot of people.
It was to me because I'm looking at it. You look at things on the logical side of the human side of it, of
Right.
the earthly side of
Yes,
it. But
ma'am.
she's not looking at it that way at all.
No,
She
no.
said, "No, I've already prayed. Don't worry about
Yeah, yeah, God's got it.
it." Yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
she did that.
She's
So
amazing.
I've been applying that too.
Yes, ma'am.
When I think of it.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
But you have to get in the habit
You
of
do.
thinking of it, don't
You
you?
do. Sure you do. Sure you do. And it's just like I said to you, the more you pray about something, the less of the burden becomes. No matter how heavy it is. And I know me and you have some common. We had some common problems. I'll just leave it at that. We went through a similar situation that you went through. You and Philip went through. Me and Judy went through, and ours has been long term, and yours has been long term also. And for several years, we've been praying about a solution to this problem, and asking God to show us what to do. And just recently, in the last 2 weeks, God took care of it. But it's been ongoing, for years, for several years now. And
It'll beat you down.
it will if you let it, But we just kept going to God. I said, well, it's time to have a Jesus moment. Let's go back to Jesus and say, now, Jesus, we're still here. We're still facing this problem, We trust you. We trust you. Show me what to do. And it worked out. But it took a while. We live in this generation of everything's it's supposed to happen right now.
Instant potatoes,
You know,
instant everything.
Yeah, instant everything. You go through the drive-through and it takes them 30 seconds to get a hamburger.
Uh-huh.
You're jumping up and down like a shortstop because you've been sitting there for 30 seconds.
It should have been 15 seconds.
Should have been 15. But with God, it's God's time. It's His time and His way. It's not our way. And His words are not our words. We have to remember that.
Well, I've had so many lessons of it not happening in my time, and had situations happened in my time, it would have been a mess up.
Sure.
And then, and I know that because it's happened so many different times.
Yeah.
But I have to be reminded of that a lot.
We do. We do. Yeah. Well, like we studied in Genesis a few weeks ago, God said that He told Noah, He said, "Man, y'all just weak." Talking about humans, And He said, "I'm not gonna do this again." The flood. Talk about the flood. And this is Cowboy version of the King James Bible, but
I like the
He said, he said, "I'm not going to do this again because you folks are just weak." And we are. We are weak. And what makes us strong, the same thing that makes us righteous, is Christ. That's what makes us strong. And that's what makes us righteous. Not us. Not anything that I do or you do. It's what Christ does in us that makes us righteous and makes us strong.
Well, and you can, and I take this in everything I do, every aspect of life, and this is even in our ownership here of the business that I take it in. And I've thought about this: what if the show had been successful, say 10 years ago? I'm not sure I could have handled it.
Right.
Because I wouldn't have had the experiences.
Right. Well, look at Israel with 40 years in the wilderness. They weren't ready, and so God just drove them in circles, basically. For 40 years, they're just wandering around, and it was a straight shot to the promised land. But they weren't ready. They weren't ready, And God, I think, does that with us, like He did with your business, and He does it with us. It's His time. He says, "Now you're ready," you know, and He'll make things happen.
Well, you can handle the successes
Right.
better.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah, that's true.
I think that's why it's, and I want to use a lottery for an example. I know somebody in Charlotte, North Carolina who actually won. It wasn't a lottery or anything like that. It was Southern Magazine, I think. Southern.
Yeah.
So anyway, she won a house, and she didn't know how to handle it.
Yeah.
She said, so what she did is because she couldn't pay the taxes on it, so she went on ahead and sold it, and she still wound up with a bunch of money.
Mhm.
She wound up with nothing because she didn't know how to say no to family members and things like
Yes, ma'am.
that. And she said, you know what? It's almost a curse to win that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Because she had to really find out what family members really were like.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Yeah.
Because as soon as that money
Yeah.
ran out, they were gone again.
Yes, ma'am. Yeah. Yes, ma'am.
So,
Yes, ma'am. That's right. Unfortunately, that's the way it goes sometimes. But
and
yeah.
she said, you know what? It hurt more to know that they came around for
I
the
know.
money. And she said, I just wish I'd never won it.
Yeah,
to
you
begin with."
realize how unimportant that is. The money is. You know, it's really, you know, God promised us that He's going to take care of us, that He's going to provide us with food and shelter. And He never said that He's going to provide us with multiple cars and multiple homes and things like that. You know, but He will take care of our basic needs. But you know, we have a responsibility too.
Yeah, we got to
You know,
work at it.
We got to
too.
work at it, and it's like Judy says. Here we go to Judy again. She said, "You can't pray for a hole while you're leaning on a shovel. God's gave you a shovel. Dig the hole." You know.
I got to hang out with that woman more often.
Yeah.
She goes with all these
Isn't
really
that
neat.
wise?
Yeah,
That's
yes,
so
it's
wise. I
very
use it all the
wise.
time in my sermons, and I use everything. I use several things she says in my sermons. But you know, that's God gave you the tools.
Mhm.
You know, and there's so many folks out here that, and not all of them. I mean, there's some folks that are really destitute, and they are a true victim of circumstance. Don't get me wrong, but so many of us have had an opportunity to do well, and we really wasted that opportunity
Mhm.
to do well.
Yeah, I mean, I've seen all kinds of wasted opportunities in my life
Sure, I have too.
that I
Right.
had, you know, and
Yeah.
and you can't bring it back, but you got to learn. You can't beat yourself over the head with
No,
it.
no, that's
Gotta
what's so
learn
cool
from
about
it.
Jesus. He's right there, and you say, Lord, I messed up.
Mhm.
He said, I know you did.
Mhm.
He said, Lord, will you forgive me? He said, I forgive you.
Mhm.
Lord, will you help me repent? Will you help me change? He says,
Mhm.
yes, I will. You know, and so that's what's so cool is that we have that opportunity to start over again, but we have to give it to Him. You know.
Over and over and
Yeah.
over again.
Yes, ma'am.
But I got to say this too about praying. I used to think a long time ago, you know, well, you know, you got to do thee, thou. You know, it's got to be eloquent. It's got to. I don't pray that way. I just
Just
talk.
That's it.
It's that simple,
That's
isn't
it.
it?
Yeah, Jesus said, don't pay any attention to vain repetitions. You know, it's about a communication with God, and that's how we communicate with Him. And Jesus is the intercessor. He's at the right hand of God. He's our intercessor to God, and so it's just a communication. And then He talks back to us through the Bible most often. Can He speak to us audibly? Sure can. Can He give us visions and dreams? Yes, sure can. We have to pray for discernment to discern, to make sure. Then we're getting deep here, but we have to pray
That's
for
cool.
discernment, you know, to make sure that it is from God, you know, which is a whole nother sermon. But that's how He communicates with us primarily is through the Bible.
Because I've had visions before, and I would wake up in the morning and go, now God, did you give this to me, or did the enemy give it to me?
You got to pray for that. Yeah, that's right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah, because the devil's the same. He's trying. That old devil's trying, isn't he? He's trying. So.
Yeah. I think he finds your weak point, and that's really that's what works with me. Because I want everybody to like me, and it just kills me if I think somebody doesn't. You know, it just tears me up.
Yeah.
And I think that's the tool he uses against me.
Yes, ma'am. And he'll attack you when everything's going good too. You know, like David when David was got in that mess with Bathsheba, you know, he had just won a great battle, you know, and he was a successful warrior and everything's going good, and then man, he really got in a mess, didn't he? You see, but he thought he was good to go, you know. Nobody can touch me. I'm King David, and here comes the devil. Yeah. So he can get you when you're too successful.
Too high on your horse, which has
Yeah.
happened to
Yeah.
me before.
And then he'll attack you when you're low. When you think, well, this God thing ain't working, and it's just, here comes the devil and says, try this.
Yeah, I mean, but again, I have to talk, just like I'm talking to you right now.
That's it. That's all you got to do.
We make things complicated, don't we?
We do. And, I got a good friend of mine's a pastor up at Lonesome Dove. He calls it bucket moments at the barn with Jesus. And he talks about taking a 5-gallon bucket into the aisle of the barn and talking to Jesus. And mine was on the knob. We have a knob at the farm, at the ranch. And I keep a bucket hanging up in the tree so the cows won't get it and play with it. But I keep a bucket hanging up in the tree. And I'll go up to the knob. I'll walk up to the knob and I'll get that bucket down. Mm-hmm. And I'll set that bucket down up there on that knob. And it's beautiful up there. You can see for miles up there, you can see all the way over the Sand Mountain. But I'll get that bucket and set that bucket up there. And I'll just have me a Jesus moment. Just talk to him. And that's what prayer is a communication between you and God, right? And it's just talking. You don't even have to talk.
It doesn't have to be eloquent.
No.
I mean, it really does. Just plain old Donna
Amen.
talk. I mean, that works. We've got to go into a commercial
Okay.
break. We're going to be right back in just a couple of minutes, guys. Y'all hang in there. The only place I buy my beef is Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama. Their cattle is born and raised on their ranch, grass and grain fed, and you can feel confident when you serve your family and friends because their beef is all natural and no antibiotics or hormones are added. You can buy whole beef or perhaps go in with family or friends and buy half. Their customer service is number one as they take care of the delivery to their local processor and can deliver to your home for a small added fee. They also offer herd replacement heifers. I always call Lone Tree Ranch in Collinsville, Alabama for my beef specialty recipes and cookouts, and you can too. Food shortages are increasing, so buy local by calling 256-523-6462. That's 256-523-6462. At Miracle Pottery, each pottery item is hand-turned from durable stoneware, clay body, and non-scratch high-fire glaze. Dishwasher oven and microwave safe, our handcrafted dinnerware and bakeware will last a lifetime, staying just as beautiful as the day it was born. Each pot is signed first with a cross in thanks to our Lord, our name, and then the year. We say a tiny prayer for the receiver of each piece that they receive abundant blessings in their lives. It's not just about pottery. We're located in the foothills of the Appalachian Mountains near Mentone and Valley Head, Alabama. Miracle Pottery is nestled at the base of the hills at 7871 Alabama Highway 117 between Gadsden, Alabama and Chattanooga, Tennessee. Please go to our website, miraclepottery.com, for more info about our other getaway cottages. You can also call us at 256-635-6863. So who likes ribs, chicken livers, hamburger steak, and fried chicken? These are just some of the things you'll find at the bars like the Cattle Stampede in Fort Payne. And dessert is to die for. Cookies, cakes, all kinds of cobblers. And don't forget to ask for your ice cream. Not to mention the steak bar, seafood bar, barbecue bar, salad bar, and dessert bar. Plus, it's all you can eat. Come hungry and bring your friends. Lunch is Monday through Friday, 10:30 a.m. to 4 p.m., and the price is only $8.99. We're also open on Saturday and Sunday, just in time to get out of church. We're looking forward to serving you, and a great big thank you for all your business. We're back. Thank you so much for watching. My name is Donna Fiesel, and I'm your host of Afternoon Drive Home. Got our pastor with us right now, Don Hunton, and sometimes you probably look at me, and while you're up on the in the pulpit, you probably look at me thinking, am I getting into that head at all?
No.
I promise you, You do.
No. Yes,
Yeah,
ma'am.
because I'm listening a lot.
I know you are. I know you are. And you're not sleeping, so you know. Hey,
Mm-mm.
that's cool.
I painted some
Yeah,
eyes.
yeah, right.
Three Stooges
Right.
thing going on there. No,
Right.
really, it's really, you keep it interested, but not just you. I mean, it's like everybody who goes in there.
Oh, it's amazing. You know, we got an amazing singing group, and we got some instruments now, and I mean, it's amazing. We made a new elder this past week because we've grown so much, and we have two new elders, a new lay pastor, and a new team leader. Uh, we're starting on the arena, working on the arena, Lord willing. Next week or so, we'll start moving dirt. So we go from one project to another. But like I tell the church, a busy church is a good church, and we're busy with outreach. Reaching out to other folks. We got live nativity coming up in Collinsville and Center, and we serve some coffee, some Cowboy coffee and hot chocolate and things
Oh,
like
Cowboy coffee, by the way.
Yeah.
That's my kind of
that.
coffee.
Amen. Amen. Good strong coffee.
Spoon stands up in
It
that thing.
does. It's actually boiled. I mean, really boiled coffee. But we'll serve coffee and hot chocolate and stuff to the kids. But it's a live nativity with cows and sheep and goats and donkeys and we get to do that twice this year. Do it at Collinsville, and then we're going to do it again at Center. And then we have two parades that we're doing. I think we're doing two, one in Collinsville, one in Center also. So this is a busy time of the year, and it's an outreach. It's an opportunity to reach out to folks and let them know that there is a Cowboy church out there and where we're at. But also maybe there's some misconceptions out there about Cowboy church. People think that we worship cows or something, I guess, but we don't.
That's in India.
Yeah.
That's where they do that there.
Yeah, this is Genesis through Revelation church. This is the gospel, but they think you got to have a horse or you got to have a cow, and you don't. You don't have to have a horse and you don't have to have a cow. That's not it. It's just that when the Cowboy church was started, that was our target area. Was the working cowboys, the people in agriculture, and the people associated with agriculture, and the people with that Western mentality, because it was missing, and that was our target was those folks, and it's attracted other people to it, that don't have cows and horses and not involved in agriculture either, but what they like about it is the simplicity.
That's what I like about it.
Simplicity of it, very. And very homey and very family oriented. We have of course, how we have an outstanding youth program with Robert and Selena that ramrod
That's
that.
another thing. I can't believe the amount of kids, and
It's amazing.
it's at every Cowboy church.
Yeah. We got some nights we got 50 kids there.
It's because they feel included. I think.
They do.
Because sometimes kids are kind of tossed out somewhere, and and they're not included.
No, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. And the camp thing is really important. We're already starting now to plan for the camp this summer. Doesn't cost the kids anything. We have a quarter auction. We raise funds to send the kids to camp. So we take care of that. Take care of the costs for all the kids. We'll end up sending 20, 30 kids to camp at no cost to their parents. And then when they come back, man, they're on fire for Jesus. And Sunday night, after our dedication, I don't know if you remember or not, but at that fifth Sunday, do you remember how the kids were praying for folks as they came in? Well, Sunday night, after the dedication, after the service was over with, they were praying them out. And I didn't know about it. And somebody come up to me and said, "Do you know what the kids are doing?" I said, "No, what are they doing?" They said, "They're praying people out of the
They
parking
just did it
lot."
on their own, didn't they?
Just do it on their own. But nobody told them to do that. But yet they took it on their own. Also, you'll notice when someone comes to the altar, notice how many kids, young people, come to that altar and lay their hands on that person that's going through whatever they're going through in their life. And those kids, those young people are coming up there laying hands on the person and praying for them. Now, that's just amazing. That's amazing. You have a young person that has enough courage.
The future looks better to me because
Yes,
of that.
yes. They come up there and lay hands on that person.
I had concerns before.
Oh, sure.
You're like, oh
Sure.
my goodness, there are no kids involved in churches anymore,
Yes,
but they
ma'am.
are in this one.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. That is really a focus on our part is the young people and keeping them involved.
Somebody's got to carry that torch.
Yes,
Because
ma'am.
we're not going to live forever.
No, ma'am. And we got to prepare that next generation, and that's what we're trying to do with the new elders and with the new lay pastors and the new team leaders. Is we're trying to get the younger men and ladies, their wives are an integral part of this, and get them involved in the church, because we're preparing them for the leadership roles that they're going to have to assume in just a few years. So we have to do a better job of making sure that there's folks ready to step up and step in. You know.
Well, there's structure, but it's attainable structure.
Sure it is.
It's not.
Sure
You know,
it is.
you got to have some kind of structure.
Yeah.
But it's a friendly.
It is. It is.
And you feel welcome.
Well, we tell folks all the time, Miss Donna. You hear me tell folks all the time that if you're led to take on a responsibility in the church, then let us know. Let us know what you're being led to do, and let us help you. You know, get to that point. You know, and that's so critical, isn't it? To let folks know that,
Well,
hey,
I'm gonna
there
tell you,
is an
somebody really stepped
opportunity.
up to it too with the sound equipment. It sounds awesome.
It does, doesn't it? Yeah, we're
Yeah.
blessed. You know, Greg McDougall got us started with it, with the speakers and stuff, and we had to go back to more of a. And I don't know anything about music. Don't know anything
Not that
about
part.
it. I don't know anything
Not
about it.
me.
But we had to go to a different system because the other system was a little bit too complicated, you know. But yeah, it's amazing. It's working and sounds good. And man, did you listen to it Sunday night? It's pretty cool. They did a great job with it, and we had a great response.
We don't have to have fancy smancy stuff. I mean, to me, the simpler the better. I don't
It's a
have all this
barn.
stuff to remember.
I tell everybody all the time, it's a barn. You know? It's a nice barn,
It's a
but
very
it is a
nice one.
barn.
It really is.
So when you go to the altar and you get up and you got shavings all over you,
Who cares?
you know, I mean, that's hey, he's been to the altar,
Mhm.
you know, you got shavings all over you, which is cool.
That's true. We got less than 2 minutes left in this segment. Didn't it fly?
It did. Thank you so much, Miss
Yeah.
Brown.
Well, thank you.
Appreciate
Tell the
what
folks
you
how
and-
you can get to the church.
We're on County Road 22, which is just off 176, which is known as the Dogtown Road, which is off 68, Highway 68, between Leesburg and Collinsville. So if you're coming up the mountain, turn right on 176, go about 2 miles and turn right on County Road 22, and you can see us as soon as you turn on County Road 22. GPS will get you all kinds of lost, but
It will.
Miss Selena, I was joking the other night, and I asked Miss Selena to get a hold of Google and tell them to fix it, and by golly, she did.
Well,
So
she's got some
They're supposed to
command
be
there.
fixing the GPS so
Good.
folks can find us. But
Good,
anyway,
because
we're
it
on
is
County Road
confusing.
22 in Collinsville, Alabama.
Good place to be.
Amen.
You got to go check it out. And church starts what time?
9:30 on Sundays. We have prayer circle at 9:20, and then Wednesday nights we have supper every Wednesday night at 6, and message at 6:30. And
There you go.
kids church, Wrangler Church, which is the older kids, and Buckaroo Church was the little kids. On Wednesday nights, and on Sundays we do Buckaroo Church for the little ones on Sundays.
And that's also teaching responsibility.
Amen.
And that's what we've got to do nowadays. Thank you, Don, for coming on the show.
Thank you, Ms. Donna.
It's always a whole lot of fun.
Amen.
Check us out on television, channel 182 on Charter Communications, as well as Abundant TV, found on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire. You are the apple of my eye. I know you could be doing anything, but you're watching us, and we definitely appreciate that as well. So you take care. See you in just a few minutes with another awesome guest.